Bitcoin Advisors channel. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from Thousand Oaks, California. It is a bright and early, actually it's not bright, it's still dark out, early Tuesday morning, turnaround Tuesday, and we're going to jump right into Bitcoin's price action. We're going to cover some altcoins like Solana, Phantom, Mana, GALA, look at, maybe even MATIC and Luna as well. But I do want to jump in and start off with Bitcoin dominance, which is ticking up here at a 42%. And we were hypothesizing this to be kind of a macro low region, although we were expecting this to pop up, a bit more earlier this past couple of months. But it gave the opportunity, as Bitcoin dominance went down, for altcoins to really kind of party over the last few months. And it does look like we put a macro low in here, and it kind of correlates with this low back in April of 2018. And what else? Open interest currently at about 9.98 billion, so about the same as yesterday. And then we got the Fear and Greed Index, which is coming in right now at a 12, so down 1 point from yesterday. Again, want to get into those single digits. That'll probably help us out with the bias that perhaps we could see that macro low get in. Again, we want to be in that extremely fearful zone. So what happens? All the retailers get scared enough to let go of their Bitcoins and their cryptos, and then that's usually when the macro low gets put in. What else do we want to take a look at? So I'm going to jump right into Bitcoin's price action here on the hourly. And why don't we take a look at CMEs here, because CMEs are popping up here. And actually, I'm going to look at spot price. And we did talk about this blue box territory yesterday, saying any kind of an hourly closure above 37,612 is going to give us very likely continuation up to 39,267. But as we all know, that would just be another kind of lower high on our higher term time frame. So this is looking good for the cross strategy. So we got the yellow 21 crossing the green 55. That would be your buy. And where would you set your stop market? Right somewhere behind the last or below the last wick low. Some people will use this wick. Some people will use that wick. Personally, on this kind of trade with where Bitcoin's price action is at, I'd use this one because, well, that is a 7% move to the downside. And I do think this bounce is rather weaker than expected. I wonder if I hit the, I don't know where that button is, but so we got that. What else do we see here? We have volatility expanding. So we do have our first higher high and a higher low, and now we would expect another higher high somewhere in this region as volatility is expanding. We got Stokes crossing up, and after getting kicked out of the bullish control zone, looks like we're heading back up in there. So again, any kind of an hourly closure back above this wick right there very likely gets continuation up to that 39.2 section. Now, what else is on the board here? Do we have any bearish divergence formulating here? We do have several drives of bearish divergence or hidden bearish divergence, and prices making lower highs and RSIs making higher highs. Has it already played out though? Perhaps it has. So that's how I'd be looking at the hourly. Let's take a look at the 4 hour. And I'm going to go ahead and put on my number 2 chart here. So the 4 hour is looking very similar in formation as the 1 hour, and I'm waiting for TradingView to go ahead and pop up the Stokes, which are way up there, and volatility starting to expand. So we got our first higher high, higher low, and yeah, typically that's good for a shot to the top side of the range, which is coming in, somewhere between 38 and 39,000. Really, this is the top side of the range, right? So we want to see a 4 hour or an hourly closure above there, and the next 4 hour closure is going to be in the next hour, and it looks like we are getting shoved down. Sometimes these blue boxes are helpful. Sometimes they are kind of a eyesore. And yeah, so we've got about an hour left on that one. And that we got to get back above this high. Now, anything below 39,137 will populate 1, 2, 3, 4 drives of bearish divergence, and that would kick you down to the bottom side of the range, which is at 33,109. Okay, and what I would say is that I might need to move my face over a little bit so I can click on this box right here. So if you click on that log button right there, that'll allow you to move the screen around. It should. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, maybe I got to turn that one off too. There you go. So log and auto allows you to move it off. If you have auto on, you can't drag it around. Okay, so why is that helpful? Well, it allows you to pull it over here, and if you scroll in this little bar over here, you can make it, more condensed or more elongated, however you'd like to call that. But basically, trend, momentum, and volatility. So we're in a downtrend on all major time frames, including the, well, it looks like a little bit of a complex low reversal here, but I'm not going to declare any kind of, change in price with any. You want to see an open and a closure above that green 55 to denote continuation up to that purple 200 up at the top there. So, all right, let's take a look at the daily. So 1 hour, 4 hour, and daily, and that's typically where we're going to see the best results with that cross strategy. And I'm actually going to put out a video on it here very, very soon. But for those of you who are already practicing such things, let's go over it. So yeah, I am expecting Bitcoin to at least tag 38,135, and that is based on the fact that we had a tick above the last low, the wick of the last low, or that wick right there. And yeah, very likely either this comes down to here, or we meet in somewhere in that range. Now, Stokes are still pointed down, and you have volatility still increasing. And on the daily, we're going to see this thing get up to about 90% or higher before any kind of a macro low is going to be put in. But again, clearly in a downtrend there. On the weekly time frame, looks like we might be getting a little bit of a reprieve, but we do have 3 open and closures below the green 55. Not looking too hot right there. And I would say that very, very likely Bitcoin does get a swipe at some point into this range. I do not believe Bitcoin will get anywhere above, call it 39,000, 40,000 this week. Unless perhaps tomorrow Mr. Powell comes out and says, hey, we're not going to taper, we're going to do more stimulus or something crazy like that. And I don't think that's in the cards at the moment. Unless the stock market really wanted to take a dump today. And it's not really. It's not, we'll check in on stocks in a little bit. So what else did we talk about yesterday? A lot of bearish things setting up on the monthly, which, we need, in 6 days, 10 hours to uncross a bunch of things. We need about a $20,000 rally. And I, frankly, hey, anything's possible in Bitcoin land. But yeah, we've got major drives of bearish divergence there, right? So price is making higher highs and RSI is making lower highs as these Stokes are crossing down. And we noted that is pretty much a bearish signal, okay? And yeah, if you look at that green 55, typically what you're going to see is a move down there. And, typically right here, shorts take some profits, but as the MACD cross comes into play here, that's typically going to give us a nice downside move, and that's okay. Bitcoin doesn't have to go straight up for us to win in the long term, okay? So just wrapping it back up on the hourly time frame here on our primary chart, which has an RSI, stochastics, and a BBWP, our volatility indicator. You do see volatility about to tick up with a rather weak bounce. Looks like we're putting in a lower high there slightly. How would you confirm a lower high? Well, if we close anywhere below this high, right, and then we close below that low, that would denote the next high, and very likely continuation. Any kind of a 1 hour closure below 35,670, and we see a move to the bottom side of the range. And let's talk about what would happen if Bitcoin does want to come down there by the end of today, which I don't suspect we're going to get a lot of price action today. Why is that? Well, everybody's waiting to see what happens tomorrow. Okay. Let's check in on the CMEs though. CMEs looking a little bit stronger here. And any kind of an hourly closure back above 37,640 very likely gets us that continuation drive up to 39,150. Other than that, on the downside, any kind of a closure, hourly closure below 35,680 and very likely move to the downside of the range. And I would expect we stay somewhere between there, if not just right here over the next day until Mr. Powell comes out and says what he's going to say tomorrow. And somebody posted a comment below. Do you think the Fed is going to be more hawkish or more dovish? What do you guys think? Post a comment below. I'd be interested to hear. Okay, let's move on to some of the more fun-filled altcoins. And Mr. Solana given a 1.5% rally here today. And, you know, I saw a really interesting tweet this morning from Mr. Sam Bankman-Friedman. I almost want to pull it up really quick, but I'm not going to. But basically he said something like, Solana's doing great, Solana this, Solana that. But hey, by the way, I'm putting my bids in at $3. $3. That's right in this range right here. So he's expecting the full retrace. And I'm expecting something along those lines as well. I wasn't expecting that low, but I would say this one put in a major top. And with the destruction of this formation right here, the break of that range, I'm looking for a move down to at least $60, if not all the way down to 42 over time, and then I'd be looking out for these levels after that. But let's take a look at on a 1 hour. So we got volatility decreasing, momentum is up. Are we getting any divergences? So we are getting lower highs, not particularly. And then on the bottom side, we're getting, yeah, so we do, and you can see how that's played out, right? So that's how many drives? Yeah, that's 3 drives. So that's 1, 2, 3 higher lows, or call it 2 higher lows, right? And then price is making lower lows, massively lower lows. Boom, boom. So that is hidden bullish divergence. That typically gets you a play to the top side of the range, which is coming in at about $1.04. And I would say that is going to be all she wrote for Solana if it even makes it back up there. And there's no real talk about a turnaround until you get back up above 120. Okay, that being said, I want to move on to Mr. Mana. Mr. Mana's got this nice little, what would you call this? A ascending or descending triangle. And I will tell you that is a ascending triangle, which does have a 75% chance to break to the upside, which would give us a measured move up to, what do you know, to 39. And we are getting, and this is on the hourly time frame, we're about to get the cross right there, which would be your buy. And then your range wick low is way down here. I'd probably use this one right here, this last wick low, for a stop market. And just, could this fill out here? Yes. Why is that? Well, you got bearish divergence, right? Price is making lower highs. RSI is making dramatically higher highs. So I'm leaning more on this one, keeling back over the bottom side of the range here, especially if Bitcoin wants to come down as well. Let's take a look at GALA on the hourly. And we are still in a downtrend, and we are riding this green 55. And again, we've got some divergences, right? You got 1, 2, 3. Call it 1, 2, 3, or 4 lower highs. Actually, it goes all the way back to here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. lower highs, and then that would be 1, 2, 3, 4 higher highs, right? So what is that? It's going to be hidden bearish divergence, and that is going to give us a drive down, likely to the bottom side of the range at about 16 cents. If 16 cents wants to break on an hourly time frame, I believe volatility will start to increase at that point, and we can do a quick fib retracement like this and give us our next target to the downside. Next target is going to be at 13 cents and down all the way down to 10 cents, because typically this is just a bounce, and I would like to see what this looks like on a 4-hour and the 4-hour time frame. Yeah, this one is looking rather droopy, picking up a little buying. I don't know if that's coming from something back here. Let's see if there's any kind of level on the daily there. Yeah, there's nothing really stopping this thing from coming down a bit more towards about 10 cents. So I would be looking out for that one. But could we get a bounce here on the daily? Look, Stokes are turning up. But we are continuing. And we got some bullish divergence. Yeah, so, okay. Great example. 1, 2, 3 drives of bullish divergence, as those are higher lows than this low, right? Higher low, and that's not a confirmed higher low yet, but I imagine we do put in some kind of a low right there on the daily time frame. And how would you confirm a higher low there? And just a tick above this guy at 20 cents gives us a move back to 22 cents. But other than that, I mean, it's just lower highs. As long as we're below 36 cents, it's just another lower high on the daily time frame, and trend continuation down, probably around 10 to 8 cents. And I mean, this thing could go to the full retrace down to 2 cents if Bitcoin really wants to head down to 30,000 or something like that. It might provide a quite nasty move, and then quite a beautiful buying opportunity down at the lows. That's where you want to have a little bit of dry gunpowder on the side. All right, that's enough for Mr. Gala. Moving on with synthetics. This is a really interesting project. Unfortunately, it got absolutely shreked here. And that is, a move down from 28 to $4. Wish we should have shorted that one. I've been following this one from some time. This is good technology. This is a long-term project. This is something that ain't going away. But I do think if the market wants to tank here, certainly it won't have a problem going down a little bit more. Okay? And what else I want to bring up here? We got synthetics. We're going to talk about, why not, MATIC. Everybody wants to know what MATIC's doing, and we got this one already traced out on the daily here, and we did hit that measure move. Actually, we overshot it. Now we're sitting here at the 1618 and getting a little bounce. And why is that? Well, and here's the cross. Stokes are down, volatility is expanding, and yes, I do believe this one could head down to about $1.04, but probably going to play out a bounce first. Maybe bounces up to 174 or even 192, and I would consider that a major shorting opportunity, especially if Bitcoin is not acting healthy. Okay, let's look on the lower term time frames, like a 4-hour, and you can see again we're still nosediving. Volatility's decreasing, and typically, you get the cross, and then what? You get the test of the green 55. That's your sell, or on the other side it would be a buy. And same thing here, if we get a test back up there, typically going to be a sell. We do have Stokes ponying up on the 4-hour, and do we have any divergences? Yes, we do. So you can see here's a higher low, and there's a lower low. What about this one? That is, nope. Yeah, so, and that first drive of, hidden bullish divergence is typically going to give you a move up to the 9 or the 21 exponential. Okay, the third drive or the fourth drive, 4 drives get you a move up to the green 55. Okay, so volatility just starting to increase. We are in a downtrend. So what does that mean? Price is going to expand in the direction of the, in the direction of the trend. Okay. So if we do see this region break on a 4-hour, next move down is going to be down to about $1.04. Maybe a short stop there at about $1.15, but ultimately this thing could really start to get going down. I mean, I'm not even going to look down there. Okay, and what else did I want to bring up here? I think Luna is one of the last ones, and then we'll take a look at Atom, which these have been some of the stronger ones. And this one's got a measure move pointed down all the way down to 38 cents. And I would say if we cannot pick ourselves up and get back above, well, any kind of a 4-hour closure back above this 618 is going to kind of invalidate that. And probably give us, a move back to the top side of the range. This one has been macro bullish for some time. Let's take a look at it on an hourly. So we got volatility just starting to tick up. We've got RSI making lower lows. Prices making lower highs. RSI is making lower highs. So no real divergences there. Looks like a bit of a consolidation at this point, and then any kind of a break, I'd say back above kind of our last breakdown level at 74, but gets continuation up to the top side at about 86. However, we're in a downtrend, and trend momentum volatility, we got the hourly Stokes just crossing down again, and we are rejecting the bullish control zone, or at least a move into that area. And if these things start to nosedive back down, that'll be a good indicator that, hey, we're probably going to swipe into this blue box territory again. And that is enough for, let's take a look on a daily as well, or on the 2-day, right? And the 2-day just closed, I believe, last night. So we got another 1 hour and 9 minutes, 2-day. So trend momentum and volatility. This is our momentum indicator. It's pointed down, as you can see, and it did reject the bullish control zone. Yep. Trend, momentum, and volatility. And what is volatility doing? Volatility is just ticking up from a low level, a very low level. I mean, this is with the lowest level we have seen. And yeah, this is kind of giving me the bias that, hey, we could get a slight move down here, or a big move down, at least in this blue box here. And if not, the next target for me is coming in, and I'd say any kind of a daily or 2-day closure back below this last major low probably gets us that continuation drive. And that's a big move, quite a big move, right? So 39%, not bad. Okay, what's the stock market doing? S&P 500, this will be the last thing we'll check in on, along with the dollar. Come on, TradingView. Load. All right, so we did have the major move there, and we did get a big bounce. And this is some bouncy territory, but ultimately I do think, well, it all depends on what Mr. Powell says tomorrow. This is a bouncy territory, and then, you'll be looking for a lower high, somewhere around the 618, and that would be a bull trap, right? So maybe the retailers come in and buy this thing up, or somebody does, and we get a bounce back up to 618, which I think is very likely over the next week or so, or even a couple days. But trend momentum and volatility. Volatility is increasing. Trend is down. We just made our first lower low. Now we're looking for a lower high. And boom, I think S&P might take it on the chin, okay, along with NAS and the rest of them. And what does that correlate alongside? I've been saying this all along, right? Dollar up, bad for stocks, bad for Bitcoin. And the dollar is moving up, and any kind of a dollar daily or 2-day closure above this guy very likely gets continuation up to our $100 mark over time. Remember, the dollar moves very slow, so that could take a month or 2 months or a few months, quarter, 6 months, something like that. But that is the overall trend. Like from May to January. That's 6, 7 months, 8 months, right? Roughly. And the dollar, it took 8, 9 months for the dollar to have a 7% rally. When Bitcoin sneezes, it can move 7%, right? Bitcoin has a little sneeze, whew, and that's what happens to Bitcoin. But again, just wrapping up the thoughts on Bitcoin, as we are kind of rejecting here off the 9, off the blue box, heading down maybe to our other blue box on the daily time frame. As long as Bitcoin is closing dailies below 44,154, we're still in a downtrend on all the major higher term time frames, which provides opportunity. And we're going to be looking for a bounce at some point. I do think the blue box here, somewhere in this region should provide a very nice bounce. And we'll be identifying how to identify when that bounce, when that low is going to be put in. So if you enjoyed some of the content here today and you are watching the videos, go ahead and hit our like button, hit a subscribe, and we look forward to talking with you. If you want to put Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in your IRA, feel free to click on the link in the description below. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.